Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kavinsky's Tutorials. I'm going to do a very brief walkthrough of Discovery by DiscoDSP. So this just came out for iPad. I don't think it's available for phone. It's been out on desktop for a while. This iPad version is just $20. Which is a good deal if you like presets, because it's got something like, I think, 2,000 or something presets. Really crazy large amount of presets. And it really sounds beautiful. But there are a lot of things to criticize about it as well. And I will mention at least some things in this video. So, for example, if we click up here, there are no AUV3 parameters exposed. So, I couldn't set up an external LFO to modulate something in this. Let me see, can I do it this way? No, it's just nothing's exposed. Yeah, so that is something really sloppy, to be honest. Why are the parameters not there? It's not the first synth these devs have released for iOS that should be there. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let's take a little look at the UI. Now, so this is another thing I would say. Like whatever way this is rendered or whatever, just the text is really not very clear. It's just kind of got a slightly blurry, fuzzy look to it. I don't really enjoy looking at this UI. Some parts are fine, but up here, I'm really kind of straining to read those. I mean, I can read them, but it's just not that clear. So, to understand, like for preset browsing purposes, the way things work, if we tap down here, it'll open up this list of different banks. So there's like 40 banks in here. So we're on bank 5 here. And if I then click over here, you can see, there are like nearly 100 presets just in this bank. So this really comes with thousands of presets. For $20 on iPad, I think that's a good deal. Now, thing is, I just saved a few presets that I liked for the purposes of this demo. Here inside AUM, the host app I'm using's preset manager, because it's really unclear to me how to save presets in here, and I've looked at the manual and I didn't see anything relevant there. Also, the manual is the desktop manual. The manual is full of stuff that does not apply to the iOS app, especially a lot of stuff about different mouse and keyboard shortcut combinations and all that stuff. There are a lot of things that it seems at the moment you cannot do in iOS. There are no AUV3 parameters exposed. That's a bit sloppy. I'm sure those will be added soon. I hope so anyway. But yeah, like if I just try to save this, for example, it'll ask me if I want to overwrite. But I can't see any other way to do things. I can't see how to make my own bank. And apart from the fact that I couldn't find that information in the manual, you shouldn't have to read a manual to learn to do those kind of basic things. It should be completely obvious. So let's take a little look at this here. So we've got this copy function, so we can copy the program, basically the entire preset. or just a layer. So this synth can have up to 4 layers, or we can copy the gate settings. That's something over here. If I press it, it'll close this, so I won't bother. We'll see that later in the video. Or just the delay settings. And then we can paste, and we can decide what we're going to paste. We've got randomize, which is great. So you can randomize the whole setup, or just a layer, or the morphing in a layer. We'll talk about morphing in a minute. Okay, we got reset. So if you want, like I was looking around for an init preset. Where the hell's the init preset? Couldn't find anything. Just go to reset program. Okay, a few different unison modes here. Rename. I also tried here renaming. Let me see what happened when I tried renaming. Now where's that being saved? Well, it's just renamed that, and I didn't really want to do that. And there's no undo and redo button. Horrible preset browser. This thing here, this will just swap this between delay and gate. So here it's showing delay controls, here it's showing the gate controls. I don't really know why there's a need for that in the menu. It's just a lot of little details that just don't really seem all that well thought out. You can tempo sync various things, but again, you can do that in the UI anyway. For example, if I press here, then it's syncing pan. So why do I need that here? So yeah, there's some stuff there. So here we can scroll through the factory presets. Now, if you see here, there's something really weird going on, where sometimes it's just jumping around, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I thought it might be sending program change messages from this MIDI over here that I'm feeding into this. So I blocked those, but I'm still getting some weird behavior. No idea what it is. So as I said, you can have up to 4 layers. So here we're viewing layer A. So this yellow dot means that we're viewing it, and here it means layer A is actually turned on. Let me just change this. So then if I press here, now it has turned on layer B as well, and I could go in and play around with stuff and set that up. If I press again, it's showing me layer B, and I can change the settings, but we're not actually listening to it, and it's not on. So we have up to 4 layers there. And we can turn on a chorus effect. Don't see any control over the parameters of that. And a phaser. Again, it's just on or off, that's it. Here you get, you know, poly, legato, mono mode, glide settings, stuff like that. Let's look at this morphing feature. So if I turn this on, now I can take a knob and I can tweak it. Let's see. Let's say let me do something with the panning amount. And maybe the panning position and the rate. Okay, so that's all I'm going to adjust. And then I'll turn this off. And then if I go down here to the mod wheel, so at the moment it's set that it should change the morph settings. There we go. So now the mod wheel is making it morph over to these settings. So that's quite a nice little feature. Now, thing is though, if you look at the manual for desktop, there are ways to, you know, modify these, presumably without, you know, here I'm just changing the main knob position. So there's functionality missing from the iOS app. If I want to get rid of these, the only way that I can see to do it in the iOS app is to press morph again and actually like drag each one back by hand. And you know, it's even hard to get it right on the thing. This is seriously not ideal. Also, like knobs, there is no double tap to reset. Like I'm double tapping here. I mean, that is such a standard gesture and nothing is happening. You know, there's just so many little areas of this where it feels like there hasn't been sufficient attention to detail in the iOS port. And I see that people are annoyed about this in the community, and rightly so. Okay, octave shift here. The thing that is bugging me most just is you know, reading some of these things in the UI, it's just not that clear. I'll bring down this master volume a little bit. So we have an LFO here and the usual controls. Turn on sync, adjust the rate. This is a bit, it's a bit strange looking, right? So, what does this mean? Like there's two lights on, does that mean? I think that means it's saw. Yeah. This is triangle. This is square. So here, destinations. So for example, now that would be targeting the filter. Really strange way of doing this in the UI. Why can't there just be a red dot for each of these and it would just be a lot clearer? Very strange. So this is the second LFO, and this can also be an ARP. So here I'll turn it on as an ARP. And so now, like here, we're getting up and down. This is just up. I'm really struggling to read this with that blurry text. It's such a bummer. It's such a great sounding synth, but just these little details are very disappointing. You've got a mod envelope here. with a few different destinations, like pulse width, FM oscillator 2. So over here, 2 oscillators, the main one with choice of sine, triangle, sawtooth, pulse and square wave. Then oscillator 2, a few different waveforms here. Here we get a choice of a noise waveform as well. And here this will adjust semitones, but if you're on noise, for example, it will adjust the color of the noise. When you also look at the way it is scrolling through these. So here it's on the square, and then it's jumping to pulse, and then sawtooth, and then triangle, and then noise. I don't know why it's not scrolling through them in order. You know, there are just a lot of little things like that that would kind of bug you. So here, if we adjust the pitch of oscillator 2, and make sure you've got your oscillator mix set. If you're going to be adjusting oscillator 2, make sure that a bit of it is mixed in. So when this lights up, that means that you're on an octave. So this is not very precise, is it, right? Like you would quite like to see maybe, you know, how many semitones you're up. But this is the way it is. And again, you know, no double tap to return to a default value. You got a fine tune here. You can turn on key tracking to make sure that it will follow the pitch of the keyboard input. So we got oscillator sync mode. So let's see, for example, there's noise without the oscillator sync. Wait a second. Okay, so that can really make a huge difference. Just reset oscillator 2's phase when oscillator 1 returns to the start of its waveform cycle. We can have a ring mod where oscillator 2 is multiplying oscillator 1, and we can have that on with sync as well if we want. And then use this for pitching. That could be cool to modulate, right? So, I mean, lovely sound. Then if we're on the pulse waveforms, we can adjust pulse width as well. Okay, let's play with the panning for a second. Turn on sync if we want. Again though, like any synth, the FX are, you know, very minimal. Not all that much control over stuff. I never worry about that. Always better to use your own effects anyway in general. And then over here, okay, you know, usual ADSR limiter here if you want. Filter, so we got various filter types. With the frequency and resonance here. So let's just change this to low pass. So just flicking through those types. This band reject, I think that's just a notch filter. Sounds good. And some modulation options for the filter and some distortion thing here with a few different distortion types. Whether it's symmetrical, you know, on both odd and even harmonics, or on, I can't remember, just odd or just even or whatever. A few different things there. There's details of that in the manual. And so I flick, let me flick over to the delay here. Wow, I'm tapping on delay and nothing's happening. You gotta hit that red dot exactly. So we can tap this again to get sync on. And then you're going to have to look down here for the information about the times. And your left and right feedback amounts and a cross delay if you want. And then I think I remember, by the way, that this can also load patches from the Nord lead that this is based on. But I think there was also some disclaimer about whether they would actually really sound the same or not. Let's turn off the delay for a second. And so gate. So we can, you see here now it's gated, but this is really fiddly, dialing these in. But look, you can easily use your own gating app, you know. But again, there are mouse shortcuts described in the manual for desktop, something that you can press that will allow you to, like, you know, quickly gate or ungate everything. But again, that is not currently an option. Like the iOS version definitely feels a bit like a poor man's version. So here I'm tapping and trying to get these back, and it's just very tedious because sometimes I'm trying to add one, like just now I was trying to add and I accidentally deleted. So look, great sounding synth, tons of presets. I've only been through a handful of them, but some of them sounded really great. But definitely, I won't go over everything again because I've explained them all through the video, but there are tons of little things that are lacking here in this iOS version. Just feels a little bit sloppy, not quite enough attention to detail. So I hope that was useful for you, everyone. If you appreciate the honest reviews and so on, please smash the like, write a comment to help the algorithm. Better yet, please do, if you're a fan of my channel and you can spare $5 a month, which honestly in today's world is really not much money, guys. If you can support me on Patreon, it will really make it much more likely that I can continue doing this channel. I'm not joking when I say that at the moment that is very up in the air. I've got just over $200 a month coming in from Patreon. I do so much work on Patreon, you know, exclusive videos, giveaways. YouTube, I think my money from YouTube is like £60 or something for the past month. For the amount of work that I do, it's just not enough. I really need community support. If you don't like Patreon, donate. If you're a developer as well, please donate. You know, if I've made videos on your apps and they've helped you sell apps, consider making a donation via PayPal or my Buy Me a Coffee page. I'm not joking, guys. I really need the support. Otherwise, I really can't keep on doing this. At least not in the way that I've been doing it over these past few years, because it's too time consuming and I'm just not being remunerated for my efforts, really. Thanks for understanding, and thanks a lot to the people who have supported me financially, whether on Patreon or, you know, with donations. It's really appreciated. Okay, thanks everyone. I'll see you in the next video.